Did he say he had to leave to share it? Is that what's going on here?
I'm pretty sure. He does this from his phone.
Oh, I'm aware. I'm aware of that. He's sideways. You guys want to say him?
I don't know how he does that. Yeah, he turns back and forth. There he is. Sideways Earl.
He's sideways.
I can't do it the other way because I have these stupid headphones that aren't Bluetooth.
You're gonna say it every year till it's real. Just what you've been saying it since 1995. I mean, that's what Eagles fans did. Just say it every year till it's real.
Can you mail him one of those 8 laptops you have?
I guess I may just get another one here. You can have the one on my left. Christ,
that's a write-off. That's a write-off, isn't it?
Yeah, well, I just did. Well, it'll be for 2020. I just did 2019 write-off for the massive business loss from the Hill.
I do have a laptop, but it's from like the LimeWire days, and it's been through the ringer. We'll just say that to say the least.
16 years old.
I know, and I corrupted the hell out of that computer. And
I bet you did.
No, we're not going to say what's on it, but you know.
Nick's a family show, so you know.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
A lot of illegal music. We'll just say that.
Yeah. And the guy that Napster. Sean Parker invented Napster.
What's one song you remember downloading from like Napster days?
That's a good question.
Jason Derulo.
Jason Derulo, that's fairly recent.
No, like I'm saying like his older stuff though. Lil Wayne, I love Lil Wayne underground stuff. I loved his underground stuff.
I got one that just popped in my head. Freshman year, college, dorms, Usher, Lil Jon. Yeah.
Yeah, there you go.
Yep.
That was the 2004 jam. Yep. That's right. You're a year older than me.
Yeah. Yeah. I graduated high school in 03. So 03 in the dorms, either fall or spring 04. Can't remember. But I just remember using like one of those file share sites to download that song specifically.
And Get Low was a classic. Get Low, that was a classic, man.
100%. All right, boys, let's get out here. I got you. I got a song for Nick here. I wanted to play. Here we go.
Oh boy. Psycho Killer.
Yeah, I bet we get dinged for this. Yeah, I just watched a movie with this in it, and I keep falling asleep to it, so I can't get through it, so I can't tell you if it's good or not.
What's the movie?
It's with Vin Diesel. It's called like Bloodshot, I think is the name of it.
Yeah, it sounds like a winner.
I can't seem to face up to the facts.
Look at Sideways Earl.
How do I fix this? I mean, can I fix it?
I can't sleep.
Yeah, there you go.
Oh, shoot.
I finally fixed it.
I kind of like the Sideways, though.
Psycho Killer. Qu'est-ce que c'est?
What is up, everybody? We're back. Swags here with the Proph and Earl, the Pearl.
Yeah, man.
I was
Sideways Earl, aka Sideways Earl.
I kind of just wanted him to stay sideways for a while, maybe throughout the entirety of the podcast, but Proph made him fix it.
I fixed it. Just for you guys.
I didn't make him fix it. I told him how to fix it. You just flip your phone the other way.
It's very difficult, very technical, very difficult.
We all know I'm not the biggest tech guy here.
Dude, like I love that background. You could do like green screen.
Yeah, man.
Yeah, because he's got the walls painted green.
Yeah, it'd be perfect. Mm-hmm. We can put you anywhere in the world, Earl. If you could
go
anywhere in the world, where would you go?
Earl, if we were going to put you
probably the Coliseum
right now, where would you be?
The Coliseum, doing the show.
I was going to say, like the top of
Rome.
Pyramid in Egypt or something.
Like a nice secure spot in the Coliseum.
Dude, you had that in your back pocket. Like, have you always wanted to go to the Coliseum?
Yeah, I did. I have.
That's your go-to.
If I go anywhere, I'm going there.
Bro, he's quick with that. Yeah, what movie is that? Jumper. You can remember the movie Jumper where like they jump to the top of like the Pharaoh in Egypt and they're like going back and forth. You guys know what movie I'm talking about? Jumper?
Yeah, but I never saw it.
I mean, it's not a good movie.
Well, like Gladiator.
Is that Chris Evans?
What the Coliseum looked like.
Is that a Chris Evans?
It's not. It's Hayden Christensen, the guy that plays Anakin Skywalker in the second and third episodes of Star Wars.
Wow.
I was like,
can't say I've seen that.
5 minutes in the sun. It was like 2005, actually.
I am working on the Star Wars one.
Yeah. Justin says, hair's looking fantastic, Jack. Thanks, buddy. I usually wear a hat for the podcast. But I really need a haircut right now. And I was just like, fuck it, whatever.
He's going it back.
Fuck it. I'm just like, whatever. Plus,
Yeah.
I had so much computer issues trying to get this thing up. I don't even see a hat in here right now in arm's reach. So it is what it is.
Yeah.
We're just going.
Looks
We're on
good.
86 hat right now.
So it's been a while since we got in, but we were texting before and talking as we usually do. This is a crazy time in sports right now. The craziest I can ever remember, which really isn't much of a surprise because it's 2020, right? Everything's crazy. So one thing I mentioned last podcast that we wanted to do, for the next podcast, we wanted to do the process, but we're not going to do that now. Actually, I talked to the boys and we're trying to get one in Thursday night. Today's Tuesday. Because we just have all 4 sports going on right now. So, like, we got to talk about it. I mean, it's NFL Week 1. You got NBA and NHL playoffs, right, in quotations, playoffs. Baseball's a mess. So, we got to run the gamut, and we don't have time to do the process. But before we get into everything, I wanted to give the boys a chance to go on their top of mind here. And I swear to God, if Proph brings up Formula fucking 1, I'm going to lose my shit.
Oh, boy.
Why? What are you guys watching?
Go ahead,
What have you
Nick.
been watching?
What anything you
Wow.
go ahead. If you want to do Formula 1, you fucking go for it.
Guys, I've been watching Formula 1 and things are really heating up. We just had the Tuscan Grand Prix on Sunday. We had some interesting goings on. Not for first and second. Lewis Hamilton always wins. Valtteri Bottas always takes second place in the Mercedes. But we had some things shake up from third on that we're not used to seeing. Major crashes at the beginning of the race. All mayhem broke out. They did a restart. I still haven't watched the whole thing. I'm going to watch it. I'm going to sit down tonight, probably watch it again, just to make sure I know everything that happened. But I saw the start of it, and it was bananas. It's really, if you guys want to get into this, I'm telling you, I never thought I would get into it. But you get on Netflix and watch the show Drive to Survive. That will pull you in. You'll get all the basics. You'll learn all the names. You'll learn all the characters. And then you'll turn it on. And the great thing about it is you get to watch it Friday. You get to watch some Saturday. You get to watch some Sunday. It's like an hour and a half.
And it's
not
on
a big
ESPN?
investment. Yeah, it's on ESPN2. Record it.
Wow.
Just DVR it. Comes on at 5 a.m.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, it is funny how you tell us to watch it.
Here's the perfect thing. The races on Sunday start at like 9:30 in the morning. So you wake up, you watch the race, you're eating your breakfast, you're drinking your coffee, and you can roll right into the football day.
Bro, first off, that is a horrible time now because when I wake up at 9:30 on Sunday, I'm on the Fantasy Focus podcast. I'm going over the fantasy teams. I'm looking at the lines. I'm looking at the injury report. I'm looking for the bets. I'm not watching Formula 1 while I'm having my coffee. I'm scouring.
Yeah.
All wasted time. All wasted time. All things you can do 5 minutes before you set your fantasy lineup. You don't need to listen to Matthew Berry. You don't need to listen to Field Yates. Look at their rankings. Look at what they have them set up, and just trust yourself.
Right?
Do you agree with that, A? You just need 5 minutes. That's it.
No, man. I've been studying all week. Well, this past week I lost a fantasy league because I made a move 5 minutes before the game started.
You overthought.
And you know what? I should have just left it how it was. I put in Mike Evans over Anthony Miller, and if I put Anthony Miller in, we would have won.
That's what always happens.
By the way,
last minute move, and I'm like, dude, why'd you do it?
This is Proph's favorite part of the podcast, especially early season football, because what's the one thing that everybody loves to tell you about, but nobody actually gives a shit? Exactly what Eric just said there.
Nobody cares.
Football outcome.
Nobody
like,
cares
I lost because I did this, I did that, and everybody's like, oh yeah, but like it's so important to you, and nobody else gives a rat's ass about your fantasy.
Well, just like that Formula, just like the racing program Nick's talking about.
Literally, nobody else gives a shit about that.
There's one person, Den Dog. Dennis
I got Den Dog into it.
Yeah, Den Dog is the only guy that I know that watches.
He loves it now. He's obsessed with it. Den Dog's very European though too. He likes the European stuff. He's a big soccer guy. But
yeah,
to kind of counter your point here, Jack, Eric has a Barstool video
I
that
do.
was posted years ago.
He does.
And he goes through a trade situation.
It's hilarious.
And
I've seen it, of course. We
That
need
was
so actually.
it's worth digging up for the comment section.
You have
Dude,
a
that'd be
copy of
great.
that video, don't you, Proph?
What's that?
You have a copy of that video, don't you, Proph?
I can find it.
Well, it's
I'm
on
gonna
Barstool
need
Sports, man. It's on the app. You can find
Yeah,
it.
but bro, that was from like 4 or 5 years ago.
Yeah. But
But
it's still up there. It's up there.
I'm sure it is. But easier if Prof sends me a copy because I need that on the platforms. We need that video.
That's
that
some
needs
good,
to go up.
That's a good grab for people like, oh, that's that guy? I agree.
Oh, that's how I know him.
That guy.
I know that guy from somewhere.
I remember that guy.
Who's he from? He's a guy that snorted all these perks and did that video or something.
I mean, aside from the content of the video, which is outstanding, the one thing that sort of struck me about that, Snapchat gives you like 10-second increments or like 15-second increments, right, to like do your video.
Yeah.
Eric had to go through like 175 different 15-second increments to do his entire like rant and his journey and his trip and the whole thing that went down. That's crazy.
Well, I did like actually like take a couple takes. If it didn't like sound right, I just do it again. So there was a couple takes, but it wasn't 170. It was only like a 10 thing snap. Well, it was probably like 2 minutes. So whatever that is.
And the best was the follow-up the next day when he went out to the trash can.
Yeah, and I was going to burn it. I was going to burn it on my deck at the draft. But I was like, yeah, maybe. Maybe I'll piss on it. It's like, and it was just like, do I want to piss on my deck? Do I want to maybe light my house on fire? So I knocked them out of the window. So I just crumbled it up and just that was it.
All right, so be on the lookout for Eric's epic fantasy football draft night / next morning tirade.
I have the perfect guy on the job.
That was like on 2016, I believe. That was it.
Prop's gonna dig that up.
That was the Manny Young days.
I got Pagano on the job.
Josh, you ever seen that video? I'm sure.
Pagano will find it in
for
5
sure.
minutes.
Yeah. Very nice. Very nice.
It's a pretty famous video. So that was good time that night.
It's worth it.
So speaking of Barstool, before we get into the real content, the Prez is on his way here to Philly. He is apparently moving here to live here. Now, I think today, actually, from watching some of his videos, he's opening up some sort of betting platform in Pennsylvania. So I think that may be like the driving force as to why he's coming down here. But we're going to be getting a lot more Philly pizza reviews coming up here in the fall, boys. So kind of pumped about it.
He already started something today in Pennsylvania. It's in like McKeesport or something like that.
Yeah, he's making his way down. It says he's got a betting platform that's coming here in Pennsylvania now.
Really? I do love how he calls us all Philly fans. What does he call us? Scumbags? Scumbag. He's
he's the king of the scumbags. He's our new leader, apparently.
I do like the guy too, man. Like
he
does.
I mean, you were talking about pissing on your own deck, weren't you?
Yeah.
Kind of thing.
I loved his point of view. I was telling you last night, Nick, I loved his point of view about Michigan. He went to Michigan, and he was destroying Michigan by not having football there. And I just really loved his intake on that.
Yeah,
that's big news.
The whole topic in and of itself, right? Like, what if you went to a Big Ten college? You're a Big Ten fan. We haven't even talked about college football, which is insane.
No, yeah.
Well, the Big Ten's coming back. Have you guys not heard this? Am I breaking this to you?
Hang on. I heard. I didn't want to say anything yet because they say that they're coming back, but then they were talking about all the stipulations. So, like, I actually was going to let that simmer a little bit because I'm not really sure if it's coming back or not. I get the pressure they're under, and really it should, but I didn't think that was confirmed yet. Is this first reported by Proph here right now?
I don't know.
You didn't hear the video?
They're not playing.
Did you not? Did you not hear the video today?
I don't think I did.
There was a video of there was a press conference, and it was at Nebraska. And
of course, it's in Nebraska.
Listen to me. There was a hot mic there, and I forget the guy's name, who it was, and what his role was, but he was basically saying, "Hey, there's a meeting tonight. There's going to be an announcement about Big Ten football," and people were like, "Oh, it's back."
Yeah. Well, you know why?
There's multiple
got in their guts.
Well, Nebraska's been, divesting from the Big Ten from the beginning. They said, screw you guys. We want to play anyway. So, of course, that's like the precipice of it. But until I hear it from like the official Big Ten or other sources, whatever goes on in Nebraska is like second rate to me because they were talking about leaving the Big Ten if they couldn't play.
But they were talking about the Big Ten specifically.
But who
they were
was? Some Nebraska guy.
I'll find his name and his role.
They don't have any COVID in Nebraska anywhere. There's
I
like
can't believe you didn't see
Actually,
population.
a fact. They don't
a couple
have
of 100,000. Yeah, I mean, there's all they have is Nebraska football.
Shout out to
That's all
all
I have.
the PH listeners in Nebraska.
You need
Same
to
with
get on
Iowa,
Twitter
man.
then.
But you're talking about, Portnoy. That was recent of what he did. That's the only reason why I brought it up. And it is kind of recent news. So I felt like it was necessary to say.
I'm excited to have him here. I want to see him in the city, walking around doing pizza.
I like him too, man. Like I
like
said,
him.
I like the guy.
Yeah, absolutely. All right, so while Proph looks for this Nebraska clip here, before we hop into NFL, obviously we have week 1. There's a ton of talk about there. Let's jump real quick to the NBA playoffs because it's 9:01 here on the East Coast, which means they just tipped off Game 7, Nuggets-Clippers. So the winner of that game is going to get the Lakers in the Western Conference Finals, but they've been sitting there waiting, right? The Lakers finished 3-1. They got through quick, and the Clippers are kind of playing with their food with the Nuggets. I still have the Clippers winning Game 7 here, but you never know. It's a Game 7. What do you guys thoughts on tonight's game? Who you got? The line was 7.5 Clippers. It's in L. Wow,
I would
in
just
LA.
say
LA's the home
Clippers.
team in the bubble.
I haven't really been watching a ton of it. I did watch the Game 7 with Boston and the Raptors. I did watch that. That was a good game.
That was a good game.
But, I mean, like I said, I haven't really been watching a ton of it. But if I had to make a prediction, I'll just take the Clippers, man. Kawhi Leonard, he's just a savage when it comes to playoff basketball and just clutch moments. And plus, Paul George is a real good player. And I'd put my money on them.
Yeah, I agree. I think the Clippers are going to pull it out. I'm excited to catch some of that tonight.
Isn't that obvious though? Isn't that the obvious answer? Like,
Yeah.
are you
It's the
really going to
obvious
bet
answer.
against Kawhi in this
No.
situation?
Nope.
Find me somebody that will.
Yeah, no way.
What's the line on that game?
7.5 Clippers.
Yeah, I would have even thought it would be more than that, to be honest.
Yeah, it's not like I'm betting on it. I know that.
Yeah.
After that damn Flyers game, I put $50 on. That was a great call.
Well, the
Oh,
Flyers,
you were the one that jinxed us. You were the one.
Yep, that was me.
we didn't even talk
I
about
think
that series. That was a disaster.
Well, we'll talk.
I had $75 on them to win the championship, the Stanley Cup, before the pandemic.
So it was all
So
my
the
fault.
odds were amazing.
Yeah, you probably got like 15-1, right?
I was like 30.
Damn.
This was in January.
Nice.
And then they went on like a 13-game streak, and so those odds kept getting smaller and smaller.
That's what I was saying. If you got it after that big win streak, I would think it would have been more like 15 or 12.
Oh, I got it before all that.
That's a good bet.
Because I study my hockey. So, by the way, we have some hockey news if you guys want to talk about that.
Throw it out there.
All right.
All right.
Even
Well,
though I don't care anymore since the Flyers lost, but go ahead.
The Islanders just went up 1-0 over Tampa Bay. So Tampa Bay's they're a lock to go to the final. So the Stars have come out of nowhere and they beat the Golden Knights in yesterday. They won Game 6.
Yep.
5-6 to go to the final. So nobody thought they were going to make it there. My bet was all along was the Knights, and Tampa Bay. Tampa Bay is just.
Now, what happened in New York? How'd they do?
The Islanders?
The Islanders are playing right now in Game 5.
Yeah.
Okay.
They're up 1-0 against Tampa Bay.
But the Islanders are a perfect example of one of the pisses me off about hockey, right? Like, what was their record this year? Barely 500?
6th seed, I know that.
Yeah,
Yeah.
they weren't great, but if you watch them play in the playoffs, dude, they were taking the puck off everybody. You couldn't get the puck in the zone against them. They were just gritty.
I watched every Flyers game. They dominated every game.
Yeah.
And you look at the way the series went, the 3 games the Flyers won were overtime, and they got well outshot in every game. They just were opportunistic and scored. The only reason they won Game 6 was because a stick broke at the red line, and they got an opportunity, and they capitalized. But the Islanders dominated pretty much every game in the series. They deserved to win.
Well, as it turned out, as it turned out, it was not great getting that 1 seed because we ran into very similar teams that played a style that we didn't match up well against. And the Canadians was a tough series, and they're basically the Islanders light, to be honest with you. They play very similarly because they don't have now I'm going to say this. They do have a couple star players, but the only real star with New York is Barzell.
That's what I was going to say. The Canadians have some stars. The Isles really don't.
But there is a but, though, that 1 seed. We did knock out the
Canadians
Penguins.
don't have stars. Matt Barzell is probably the biggest star out of anybody on. I mean, Canadians don't have anybody that's really up at that level beside their goalie. Their goalie is the best goalie in the league, Carey Price. But
Not
anyway,
as good as Carter Hart.
That's our yearly hockey talk.
Well, I'm saying, but it was nice. It was nice that we knocked out the Penguins. That was sweet.
Yeah, I mean, I think the Flyers were a better team than the Penguins throughout the course of the season, particularly like Nick's point, right before the pandemic, the Flyers were surging and then really surged. So I really wasn't really concerned about the Penguins this year.
I just don't like them.
Well, who does?
I'm just saying. It's like they didn't make the playoffs.
We didn't knock them out, by the way. The Canadians knocked the Penguins out.
Well, I thought we helped, though. We definitely helped that. We beat them
like
twice.
We helped it. The Canadians beat them in a series.
What he's talking about is the reseeding right before the games that we played against the Penguins to move their seeding right before they went into the whole fucking seeding bullshit.
Yeah.
That's what he's talking about.
Okay.
But before we move on, I do like Carter Hart. It's nice to have a goal. He kept us in a lot of these games, and it was fun to watch him play. That's the one guy I took out of that whole series that I did actually watch.
I think there is a bright future there, I think, too.
Yeah, the question then gets raised.
He'll be back.
For Proph, who's the resident hockey guy, what's the one thing that we never have here as a Flyers fan? A goalie, right? A consistent goaltender. Do we think that Carter Hart's a guy that we can bank on for the next 7 to 10 years? I mean, preliminarily, I would say absolutely.
Oh, I think it's 100% guaranteed now. I mean, they're putting all their eggs in that basket for sure. I mean, he was a stud. You saw him. I mean, you have a veteran guy like Brian Elliott who's capable of starting those games. I think he might have gotten 1 start. So
he 1 start.
Hart was out there for every game, and it's basically the organization saying, "Hey, it's your franchise now. Let's run with it."
And I mean, honestly, in the Islanders series, if he doesn't play as well as he does, the Flyers get knocked out probably in 5 games, maybe 4.
Oh, for sure.
So he really did play very, very well. And I mean, he's a young kid, and I think for the Flyers, it's just people outside of Philly don't understand, but literally, look at the goaltenders that we've gone on runs with. I mean, Brian Boucher, Garth Snow, right? Go down the list. But there's never been a premier guy in there.
There's been the one guy that was premier that we let go was Bob Bobrovsky, right? That's his name, Bob. He won
Sergei Bobrovsky.
Yeah.
He left and won 2 Vezinas with Columbus.
Yeah, we let that guy go.
He's playing in Florida now, and he's not looking great.
Yeah, well, he had a couple
years.
years.
He got a nice contract there, and he's not looking. He's not
just
looking
like that.
Good.
It was that one dude we signed for a ton of money. That was like Hungarian or something. Who was that guy?
That was
he like Tiger.
Ilya Bruskalov.
Okay,
yeah. He came from the Coyotes. He was a savage, and we signed him to this. We gave him all this money, and he was like a nutcase. Yeah, he was fun to listen to.
And he shit the bed. Guy stunk.
So other half of the NBA, Earl alluded to it. Oddly enough, the Eastern Conference Finals, Celtics Heat, the Heat. It's going to be a prelude to what we're going to talk about with the Sixers.
Yeah.
But the Heat, led by Jimmy Butler, make the Eastern Conference Finals. Jimmy Butler, who was here in Philadelphia with the Sixers last season. So that'll be an interesting series too. Personally, I don't know if either one of those teams stands a chance against the Lakers or the Clippers if the Clippers get through Game 7 and the Nuggets tonight. But we'll see. However, it really does overcook my grits to see. We talked about this a little bit last time. You took that Sixers team who was a Kawhi Leonard 3-time rim bouncing shot at the end of Game 7 in a playoff series to go in and they become the NBA champs, the Raptors, which had Jimmy Butler a part of it here, this Sixers team, and then you can't sign him, and he won't stay, and he goes to Miami, and look where they are now. It's just really frustrating as a Sixers fan to see where that team's at.
Yeah, they missed out on a lot of opportunities to keep that team together. And Butler, you had TJ McCollum, or what's his name, TJ from the Pacers that he went to. I like that guy a lot. TJ McConnell was great. We let him go too. Come on, he killed us that one game he played him. And, I mean, of course, Jimmy. And then we overpaid, Al Horford, which is, that was a horrible deal. I actually thought he was going to be good for a little bit, and he just wasn't. And then, but to your point, Jimmy Butler, not having him back just kills us because you see how good he is.
You give up Covington, and you give up what's his name? Sario.
Yeah,
you give up two pieces. Both of them,
all these guys and got like nothing.
Both of those guys, while maybe not starters, or Covington can start fifth man, sixth man, and Dario can give you minutes off the bench. Solid. He's a solid sixth or seventh man. You give up those players for Jimmy Butler for what was essentially 5 months. And you can't have that if you don't know you're not going to sign him. So we talk about it, and we'll talk about it more at length. But yeah, it just
and don't get me started on what's that guy? Who's that guy's name? Number 1 overall draft pick went to I can't think of his name right now. He went to the Magic.
Markelle
Fultz. Yeah, dude, that killed me right there. That killed us too.
Yeah.
Just like the whole Sixers situation is it's just a shitstorm, man. I don't know. They're not doing a good job.
No, well, we're going to get into that on the full.
It's honestly, I know that I'm not supposed to like Jimmy Butler, but the way that he plays and the way that he kind of prepares, and it's pretty impressive. I know he talks a lot of smack and all that, but like he's backing it up on the court, and I think he always has.
Yeah.
So as a Sixers fan, I know there's a lot of people on Twitter that are like furious the fact that he's even there, and they don't want anything to do with him. Because I don't know what they offered him. I don't know what those details are, but it really does suck that they had to break that team up. I mean, him leaving, JJ leaving, that really put us, and they did make some weird moves. And I think a lot of us tried to talk ourselves into like Al Horford. Oh, that's going to be a good deal come playoff time. He's going to give Joel a breath. But at the end of the day, the dude, he stunk. I mean, he stunk all season.
He didn't.
But the other thing that really kind of like turns the knife a little bit as well is that Jason Tatum is budding into this superstar, and we kind of missed out on those. There's a good group of years in there that we missed out on when we were working our way up to the process. But so they just actually put it into overtime. I'm watching it live here online. They're in overtime right now.
Oh, really? And yeah, we get Fultz and they get Tatum, and it was the biggest blunder of probably the Sixers' history.
Not to mention we trade up.
We traded up.
To get Fultz.
And we ended up trading Fultz for what, a second-round draft pick? We were just trying to give him away at that point.
Yeah.
I wouldn't have done it.
Bag of balls. Joey bag of donuts.
Yeah.
I don't fault any of that. I don't fault any of that because they made a move to do that. And I don't think there was an expert around at the time that said to go the other way. I mean, Fultz was, from what I remember,
I don't know why. The guy played 1 year.
Yeah, but he was a clear number 1 pick. All these guys played 1 year. I mean, you're not coming out of college playing more than 1 year as the number 1 pick. It's just not happening.
Yeah.
Fultz was regarded as the 1 pick. The question is, did you trade up to take him? When realistically, he would have been there anyway because the Celtics were going to take Tatum. They had guards, and they were going to take Tatum. And the Lakers were already locked into Lonzo. So you would have gotten Fultz at 3 without giving up the remaining pieces or your what assets you had left from the process. So, but again, we're going to do the deep dive on the Process podcast special, hopefully Thursday if we can do it.
All right. Yep.
But I have a lot to talk about there. I don't even really want to get into it, but yeah, there's so many spots you can point to, and that obviously was a pivotal one right there. And you look at the pieces that you gave up to go up and make that move, and then you need him Like you need him to be that like 1 to 2 shooting guard, that like Jimmy Butler type player. So and it just didn't work out.
I think honestly, when they started realizing that they're going to lose pieces around everybody, i.e., Ilyasova, i.e., Redick, like guys that were playing these role positions, they scrambled to fill that, and
I mean, Horford was a bad move. There's no two ways
a
about
team
it.
that was
He's the
a team that was gelling
Well, we had
together.
no bench. We had no
picked
bench.
apart.
Yeah.
Who we had? Burke. Burke was the best guy on our bench in the playoffs. Dude,
Well,
Burke,
I mean,
he was the best. That was
Eric,
it.
you just talked about it. Look at the team from last year. Look at the bench that they had. You had T.J. McConnell off the bench, who was a solid backup point guard. You had Ilyasova giving you minutes off the bench. You had Boban, who could give you 10, 15 minutes off the bench at the big man spot. You had a team. You had a really, really good team. Took the eventual NBA champs, like we just said, to Game 7.
Yeah, that was it.
A Kawhi shot away. Like, that was a championship caliber team.
Yeah.
And it just got annihilated. Literally got annihilated. And what you brought back in after you lose all those pieces was Al Horford. That's it.
Yeah.
That's
and
it.
the only good player that I saw was Joel Embiid. He's the only guy that could score consistent, and that was it. I mean, Harris could score a little bit, but he's inconsistent. The only consistent guy is Joel Embiid. You don't think so?
No, I mean, we were always talking about whether they should sign Butler or Harris, and I think from Jump Street, I think both of us said Butler, but
yeah, Butler was for sure the guy. But I'm telling you, Butler wanted to go to Miami. He didn't want to. I think Philly gave him an offer. He wanted to go to Miami. He wanted to just do the Miami life thing. That's what he wanted to do. And he got criticized for it, I think. I mean, you look back at it, I think he did get criticized. Why go to Miami? Why don't you just stay, Philly? And he's looking pretty smart now. He's laughing at, Philly, I guess, right now.
He's laughing at everybody right now.
Yeah, it worked out for him. No doubt about it. All right,
Yeah,
so we did have week 1 of the NFL. Before we talk about it, like, did it feel like it just snuck up on you guys? It was like literally like, oh, hey. It was like Friday night, Saturday morning. It's like, oh, hey, by the way, we're playing football tomorrow. The Thursday night game just kind of was like, oh, hey, look, the Chiefs are on. It's Thursday night. I know it snuck up on me. I was like, oh, wow.
No preseason got me a little bit. No preseason, that kind of just week 1. And I thought there was going to be a lot more injuries too, but I guess there wasn't as many as I thought. But it did sneak up. It did.
Well, speaking of injuries,
disagree.
Yeah.
I mean,
injuries.
The only season-ending one I could think of is, I don't know. Is there any season-ending injuries?
I mean, there's a big injury list, by the way. I just saw we were coming on. Michael Thomas, the best receiver in the league, he's out next week. At least next week, maybe further. So it's a lot of injuries. Staying right at home. Eagles play the artist formerly known as the Redskins, right?
There we go.
They jump all over them, up 17, cruising against a bad team, and just give it away. But, I mean, I'm not one to go blame injuries ever, right? But speaking of injuries, I mean, you go into the game, you got Lane Johnson, DMP, right off the bat. So your offensive line, which already you're worried about shaky, you're now down your best offensive lineman, right? His replacement, Driscoll, gets hurt in the game. He goes down. So now you're down 2 offensive tackles, right? Not to mention, you're supposed to be starting running back, Miles Sanders. He doesn't play either. So I had this argument right after the game, actually, where someone tried to tell me that Miles Sanders being out didn't have anything to do with the protection. What do you think? Did you watch a couple of those plays where literally someone comes through and the backup tackle and running back both whiff on a guy and he's in Wentz's face? What do you think the running back does in protection? He picks up, that's what he does.
He tries to pick up guys.
It's part of the protection plan. So you're already down that. So that was already a problem. Then you go to defensive side. Our best defensive lineman, Brandon Graham, he gets knocked out of the game. He's in concussion protocol. Another one of our great pass rushers, Vinny Curry, he's out 4 weeks with a hamstring now. Okay. So the injury bug definitely bit the Eagles. I mean, I don't know.
Eric didn't watch the Eagles game.
I always said that so you could prove me wrong, okay?
I like that.
at least with the Eagles.
I like that.
Dude, well, what I really don't like about all this is that everybody's shitting on Carson Wentz, and they're saying like, dude, what, you got to throw the ball away. It's like, I get it, but he would be throwing the ball away literally every play.
Right.
Like it was literally at a certain point, it was every play. He had not even a second and a half to get rid of the ball, and that's not gonna work, especially with who we're playing in a couple
LA.
days. I
We
mean,
got Aaron Donald
like,
coming to town.
it's not gonna happen.
Yeah. So, well, first off, so Josh says that Eric, you would have picked that block up there coming through.
Oh, yeah, I would have
You
shot
went-
blocked that guy, no problem.
Yeah, you wouldn't have whipped
Shot
on
block.
that block.
Eric would have got a sticker on his helmet the next
Yeah,
day.
yeah, he would have got an
man.
extra sticker on his helmet. He would have made
Yeah,
that.
man,
block.
I got the helmet right here.
And Alex says that all of your fantasy teams are garbage. Boo-ha. Is that true?
His dynasty's pretty good.
Yeah, I put up the most points out of anybody this week, so he can.
Mine's
Cool.
pretty big.
Curse at him, bro. I want you to curse. You won't do it.
Yeah, he can get a loss.
But, well, and I mean, look, going into the game, right, we all know that the Washington Football Club, they got Haskins.
Football team.
Their offense was going to struggle, but we knew that their only strength, I mean, Kerrigan's been a terror for the last 10 years against us, right? Like, their only strength was their pass rush, and our biggest weakness going into the game was the offensive line.
Yeah.
But to see us jump out that early, I mean, there's so many things you would talk about in that game, from the game plan when you got guys going down, that like going forward on a couple fourth downs, particularly one late where it's like, why punt the ball away? There's so many things you can go back on. But the props point, I heard a lot of people like already, because this town is still like living that Nick Foles dream that he's the guy and Wentz isn't the guy and blah, blah, blah. And it's like, well, what, Wentz again, but you cannot tell me watching that game that you're going to blame Wentz for missing some of those throws or not getting the ball quick enough or having happy feet with the way that pass rush was in his face the entire game. Any quarterback in the league would look like that, unless it's
he made some bad throws.
Really run.
He made some bad throws, but at a certain point in the game, he's starting to force things, and he's starting to, it's like panic time. I mean, like he literally had no time to throw the ball. Now, on the opposite side, the Redskins are getting all this praise for being like this great defensive line, and they are. Don't get me wrong. Like with Kerrigan and Young, like they're gonna be a good defense, but we made them look like an all-time defense, and they're not. I don't think they are.
Who was the Big V? Who do we put in the Pro Bowl for the Giants that year? Was that O.C. Umenyiora? Had 5 sacks on Big V when he first came in like 4 years ago. You remember what I'm talking about?
Okay.
Probably.
It was Vitai's rookie season, and I think Peters got knocked out. And
JPP maybe
got 5 sacks.
Jason Pierre-Paul. Yep.
It was like that. I looked up, and the Redskins had 6 sacks, and I'm going, I mean, what NFL game do you win giving up 6 or 7 sacks? It's not going to happen. And what quarterback is not thinking every time he drops back to throw about getting hit now? Because it's not just the sacks; it's the amount of times he gets hands on him or he gets knocked down. I mean,
Well, to add my point, I think they never got the running game going. I mean, like I thought they should have ran the screen game. I didn't see one screen. I know, like Dougie's probably thinking, let's hold up on it. Let's not show all our eggs in one game, or let's not show all our good plays in one game. But I think he should have got the screen game going. He should have got the draw game going.
How are you going to run screens with backup linemen, and backup running backs, and you haven't had a preseason?
Start setting up draws, play action. They weren't running the ball. I mean, did they run the ball?
Play action's
did I watch
not going
something
to work.
different?
Eric, play action's not going to work if you can't run the ball. Nobody's fooled, right?
Well, I'm just saying they couldn't run the ball, and that's why they got their shit pushed in.
I mean,
at least in the second half.
Having a successful running game also has to do with the offensive line. So, like, we're not saying different things. We're just saying it in different ways. But, I mean, it's not just the pass rush that becomes a problem. It's the fact that you can't run the ball. If you can't run block, can't pass block, can't run block, you're going to lose.
Well, like I say, you better call some better plays, Xanders.
Well, tough game 1 drop there. And like you guys said, game 2 not looking much better because Aaron Donald and the Rams line tossed around the Cowboys offensive line and knocking them off, and they were actually dogs in that game. So that's going to be a tough matchup here this week for the Birds as well.
Any positives out of the game that you saw?
Rager with the bomb. I like that. That 55-yard catch. That was cool.
Because I only have 2.
Okay. I think I have 1. Go ahead, Nick.
Rieger, I was going to say, looks good. Good pick by Alex. I'll give him credit. Good job. Nice pick in our dynasty. And Nathan Gary looked really good. He was all over the place. Like he was hitting everybody. He was on the ball every time. I think he had like I'm going to say like 12 tackles. He was all over the ball. And he was the only guy that like showed up on the defense that I could see.
Yeah, I mean, I thought he played pretty well.
But like the Redskins offense, they weren't throwing the ball all over us. They were kind of dinking and dunking a little bit, but we were letting them do it. So I'm not like afraid of Dwayne Haskins at all. McLaurin's a good player, but I'm not afraid of the Redskins the next time we see them if we get some guys back, or if we can. And I've been hearing rumors and reading rumors about this. Make a trade for somebody on the offensive line, and it's looking more and more. This Zach Ertz situation is getting more and more contentious. That's a big trade piece right there.
Yeah, and he's got a contract coming up, right?
They got to get some help on the line. They can't go through the season like this. And let's be honest, Jason Peters is a ticking time bomb out there at tackle now. I mean, how many games do we expect him to play all year at tackle? I mean, come on. So they're going to have to go get some help. There's no doubt about it. Yeah, I agree with your positives, Prof. I had one more. I thought that Washington – they had some big, stupid third down conversions that were kind of like, but that's like typical of the Eagles. Also, what bad teams have done to us the last 2 years is they'll get a little 4-yard dump and then it turns into 10. But I thought that Darius Slay looked good. So, that was a plus because our corners were so weak last year. So I think that may be at least
things are positive.
Yeah, but aside from that, I mean, offensively, look, they got out to a hot start, and then, I don't know. So it's going to be a tough week for sure. We'll see what happens.
So when I mentioned,
I can add on.
When I mentioned on the comments about Zach Martin. So speaking of injuries and season-ending injuries, Earl, Blake Jarwin from the Cowboys goes down with an ACL first game of the season.
Van Der Esch got hurt too, right?
Yeah, but my point is they're going to be looking for a tight end. We have a tight end. We have 2 tight ends.
I don't want to give him Ertz. Come on, that's such a disrespect to Zach Ertz.
But to bring in Zach Martin, who's a Hall of Fame,
that's a good deal. Same age. I mean, we do need him.
In the league.
We do need him. Yeah, I mean, they definitely need some work on the O-line. I mean, and the one guy I was going to say to add on to you guys was Dallas Goedert looked really good. I mean, he had like 6 for like 100-something, 2 touchdowns.
Yeah, but Dallas Goedert, and he keeps doing this. Dallas Goedert drops the ball. I have got to see. My tight end cannot drop the ball. He still has the dropsies because he's getting 10 targets a game, but he drops 2 of them. Like, you're a tight end. You should never drop the ball, ever. I'm sorry. I like him. Don't get me wrong. I didn't mean to piss in your cereal there, Earl. But like, every time he drops a ball, I want him to like drop and give me 15 push-ups on the field. Like, your tight end cannot drop the ball because those are always huge, like 3rd and 7s where he's 8 yards deep and then he drops it, or like 3rd and 6 when he
doesn't drop that.
He can get to 2 and he turns too fast and he drops.
I mean, well, let's remember last year with we were in the playoffs against the Saints. Who had the big droppies? Alshon Jeffrey, he dropped it. Nelson Aguilar, he's dropping everything. He's not on the field.
I think Earl has to do 15 push-ups every time Goddard drops a ball this year.
I agree. And the next time we do a podcast,
get you back on that home run board, Earl.
Earl owes 15 push-ups with his phone right side up, watching Goddard drop. Bank it. Book it right there.
All right, that's a bet. Yeah, well, there was some good bets last night too. The Rams were plus 30. I was telling people to bet that, man. Should have bet that. And I did say the Cardinals. I love the Cardinals with the upset the Niners. I called that one. I told several people.
Wait a minute. Wait. All right.
I did, yeah.
Slow down. So the Rams.
That's not how we do this, Earl.
Once I get on a roll, man, I just flow with it.
Let me play that back for you, right? And I want you to tell me how this sounds, okay? Earl, you ready? So I was all over the Niners upset there. I had the Cards all day. And what's your source? I told several people.
No, so I'm listening to 94.1 WIP, okay? And they got this pro on, and he's like, dude, he's just saying how it, and that's my source. Some guy on WIP. You listen to the radio as much as I do.
And I told
that's where I got the information from. And if I would have bet on it, I would have hit. But I didn't bet on it.
All right.
You're not allowed to tell your winners post game.
Yeah, they got to be before. There's two caveats. They got to be before, and you got to have put the green where your mouth is, bro. You got to have taken the bet. If
I did the Rams 100%. I put 50 on the Rams.
All right, so Rams are good. We're not going to give you the card.
I'll do the opposite because I was going to take – I was like, I love the Texans on Thursday, and they got spanked. Yeah. And they came out and scored right away. I'm like, I would have had that, and I would have got crushed.
Yep. So some of the things that stood out from the last week, of course, I mean, it's a given. Tom Brady's debut as a Buccaneer, that was weird. Seeing him in a Buccaneers jersey was very weird. Ironically enough, he was going up against Breeze and the Saints, and, late in the week there was some conversation that came up, which is really interesting, that if Tom did not end up going to Tampa Bay and Breeze ended up retiring, the Saints were really interested in bringing Brady in. So that was just kind of another dynamic. The Bucs lost. Everybody this week is all over Brady. He didn't look amazing, but I don't think he looked awful. What do you guys think about Brady as a Buc in his debut?
I think they'll be okay. They're a good football team. I think they'll bounce back and really start winning some games. I think the Saints. I think the Saints are just a good football team. They're going to be there in the end. They're going to be there in the end. I mean, they're a Super Bowl favorite. So I think that's what happened. I think they just ran into a tough team with no crowd, and they're lucky for that. And they just got their butts whooped a little bit. And there is one stat with Brady's how he's like one of three quarterbacks to have 4 consecutive games with a pick six, and he had another one. But I just think the Saints are good. So
hot take is Tom Brady the new Matt Schaub?
Yeah, I'm saying it's the same. Yeah, and it's Blaine Gabbert was in that conversation too with the pick sixes. Blaine Gabbert, Matt Schaub.
I mean, so I agree, Earl. Honestly, I actually agree with everything you said. I think the Bucs are going to be fine. I think they're both going to be in NFC playoff contention. I think the Saints are a really good team. I think what you have to remember is Tom Brady spent 18 seasons in one system. And now he's moved to Tampa, and there was no preseason. I don't know what fucking training camps and extended practices look like this year with COVID, but it wasn't enough. Him and Mike Evans clearly weren't on the same page. There was an option.
Well, Evans was hurt
that he threw, and he stopped, and then it got picked off. So they'll work out the kinks. I'm not saying that Brady is Brady of 5 years ago, but they have a lot of weapons on offense. So that's going to be, I think, a good team, especially offensively. They're just going to need some time. I mean, it's not Brady to Amendola or, Brady to these guys that he's had for a while in the same offense. It's a different scheme, and it takes time, and they didn't have time this offseason that you would expect to get in a typical offseason. So
I'm not writing them off yet because they still haven't implemented Fournette into the offense at all. But I will say, I didn't come up with this but I've heard this. They do give off Dream Team vibes. They do give off some Dream Team vibes.
You're not wrong.
Where you bring on new guys that were really good elsewhere, and you try to get them all together, and you think it's just going to be a perfect fit, and everybody's going to gel together. And it's just not how it works.
Especially not in the NFL.
Especially
not in the NFL, because you know what the NFL stands for, right? Not for long. If you're playing bad. That's it. I've seen that in some film, man.
I didn't see that coming.
No, you didn't see it.
That's right. Alex Welker, right? That was another great Brady.
Randy Moss.
Oh, Welker.
Yeah, man.
And the other game that stood out for me, I guess, none of it didn't stand out for me, but just was one of the standout games was the Ravens. And they look really good the same way they did last year. But I think the question for them, the same thing that I got Proph on with last year, is going to go again this year. I don't care if they go 14-2. Can they do it in the playoffs? Because I think they're going to go 14-2 again or 13-3. Like, they have a really high-powered offense, and nobody's going to be able to stop if Lamar Jackson's healthy, and their defense is stout. So, like, they're just stacked. The question is, are they going to be able to carry it in the playoffs? Now, the flip side of that is Proph's boy, and this is a big Proph's boy, Baker Mayfield. Come on, Prof. Give me
What
something
happened?
on your boy, because it ain't looking good, bro.
I got something after.
Why is he my boy?
He is your boy. He is
When did
your
Wait
boy.
a second. Why? Because I like him better than Johnny football?
First off, leave Johnny out of this, okay? Every time Baker comes up, you got to go to Johnny, all right? He's his own man. You leave Johnny out of this, and you defend your boy, Baker, because it's looking like more than just a sophomore slump. I mean, he
Well,
stinks.
dude, I mean, honestly, isn't this the same thing that we kind of just talked about, where you get a bunch of superstars together and you think they're going to be like this awesome team, and they're not? Like Odell Beckham, and you have Chubb, and you have I mean, they who else they bring in? Is Austin? They bring in Austin Hooper,
And Hooper,
Kareem Hunt,
Jarvis Landry,
Kareem Hunt.
who, by the way, he's out for 4.
Austin Hooper.
Honestly,
And
here's the
Chucky's on
difference.
IR.
Here's the difference, though. They have not had a consistent coaching staff for Lord knows how long. I mean, how is it a quarterback supposed to settle into an offense with a bunch of guys that they're not always on the same page? Odell Beckham, he drives me nuts, dude. Like, I'm sick of hearing about the guy.
Typical
It's
deep
always something. It's always something besides football. And I mean, I just don't know how you can put all that together and be expected to come out and look like a cohesive group when you haven't had any preseason games. I know that's like a fallback excuse, but I honestly feel like that's a legitimate. There's a legitimate case for that now, where you have a new head coach coming in, implementing a new system with new guys that the pieces don't always fit together. And I mean, what did you expect to see from him?
Well, here's what I'll say about Baker. Baker Mayfield has more commercials than he does NFL wins. That's a fact.
That's true. That's
He does.
that's the cowherd. He must have been listening to the cowherd.
Darling.
But I do like Baker though, man. He's on my dynasty team, and I got faith that
Oh, God.
he'll get it going.
Well, he's got a favorable matchup this week because they have the Bengals and young Joe Burrow, who came
Looked
out
pretty good
in his first game. So that'll be an interesting game. I mean, honestly, I don't disagree with a lot of what you said about the Browns, Prof. I mean, I was a hater of Baker because I didn't think he was deserved of the number 1 pick that year. But after his first season, was beginning to come around for him and start to root for him because I just want to see the Browns not be the dog shit of the league, right? Because it's been 20 years that they're horrendous every single year. And I was hoping that they were turning the corner, but it just looks like, you know, after that decent season his rookie year, they're just regressing and they're going to continue to just be average or below. And, like, that's not good enough. Like, the Browns need to make the playoffs. The Browns need to do something. Baker Mayfield's supposed to be a franchise quarterback. At the end of the day, the real question is, to both of you guys, is Baker Mayfield a guy who's going to lead your team for the next 7 to 10 years? And for me, I'm saying no.
I'm saying yeah, because I mean you're already invested in the guy. I mean, you're not going to get another guy. I mean,
that's not good enough, Earl, because the Bears are
they're invested in this guy,
and they gave up extra assets to go get him. And guess what?
And he's decent.
They're not signing him after this year.
He's
so
decent.
That's not good enough.
That's
Who's
stupid.
decent?
I said
Who's
Baker's
decent?
quarterback. He's a top 20 quarterback.
I think it's
He's a
too early
starting
to
quarterback.
tell. I think it's too early to tell because you can't.
And I agree with that too.
You can't judge a guy in his first few years of the league when he's had
first year was shitty, bad coaches. Yeah,
all new coaching staff in 1 year. I mean, like, this is what we did to Alex Smith for a long time, right?
Yeah.
He went through.
Playing good.
He went through tons of coordinators. Remember? I think he went through like 7 or 8 coordinators in 7 or 8 years or something goofy.
Well, he was in San Francisco,
and we sat there and we're like, oh, he's a number 1 pick, and he can't take a team to a playoffs. Well, there's no consistency above him. So how is he supposed to do that when he's got to change the way he plays every time somebody new comes in every single year?
Well, I think Alex and Josh in their comments are kind of onto what I'm saying here, Earl. Like top 20.
What am I saying? That's not very good. I agree.
Top 20. There's 32 teams in the league, so top 20 ain't good
I'd say
enough.
they're starting quarterback. Yeah, I mean, well, look.
It. Like you, for Proph, I'll give him some leeway. I'm gonna hammer Proph like in a couple weeks about Baker Mayfield if the Browns aren't at least like 2.
I'm not too high on Baker.
But the question is, I get he's on your dynasty team, but like, is he a franchise quarterback? It's his third year.
Yes,
like this,
and yes, he is.
So you're saying yes. You're
Yes.
riding with Baker. You know, that's of course.
I'm not a huge fan of the guy, but I mean,
but he's
like I said, he's not on the caliber of the Lamar Jacksons, the Patrick Mahomes. Hell no, you saw it Sunday. He wasn't even in the same league as that team, and this showed the Browns aren't that good. At least not to compete with the Ravens. But I think he's a quality quarterback. He's not the best quarterback. Well, and that's why they're taking second place behind them. I know that.
I mean, they got the Steelers in their division too. The
Browns
they're
probably lose to them too. I mean,
6-10 again, or 5-11.
They're not that good.
And now we're going to be 3 years in on Baker Mayfield, and we're going to be sitting here going, "Uh-oh." Are we? And Proph's point, then they're going to go, "Oh, are we getting another coach? Right? Are we getting another GM? Are we getting another coach? Is Odell going to stay?" It's gonna.
What did Odell do Sunday? He must have not done much. I mean, he only put up 6 points, right? Or 3 or 6 fucking points. I mean, Odell ain't doing shit. I mean, he's just getting shitted on by these girls talking podcast on him. I mean, he's not doing very good.
I knew that Earl was going to bring that up.
I
was honestly, I'm surprised it took that long for that.
He called Cleveland Brown the Cleveland Browns dog shit. So I was like, I gotta say something now. I mean, he's not doing good. I mean, Landry to do nothing. They're not good. The whole team stinks.
All right. Well, you heard it here first. The Browns
there you go.
stink.
Like we should give him more than a week. Is all I'm saying.
Yeah, I agree.
That's fair.
I'm gonna be all over Proph because that is his boy. So we're gonna be watching them very, very closely, especially Baker, because
I'll be watching the Eagles more closely, but
Mayfield draft year, so I'm gonna be keeping tabs on him. That's all I got from last week. You guys got anything else from NFL last week? That's pretty much all that stood out to me. The rest of the games were typical.
Well, I was impressed.
No, man, it was a busy Sunday, and I have to get back on the red zone. I didn't red zone it this week. I had to go highlights.
Why not?
I was at a party.
Okay.
I could not pay attention.
It's fine.
Like I said, I did watch the Sunday night game, and what I got from that was they're playing LA next week, and Aaron Donald's going to have like 3 sacks, man. That's one thing. I watched the Sunday night games because I was home chilling, and yeah, like the Cowboys looked like a better team than us. They really did. I mean, there's division rivals. I mean, division games are different all the times, but with LA coming to town, it does not look good for the offensive line when you have Jordan Mailata, the rugby player playing right tackle, covering Carson Wentz. It's just, I don't know. I just don't like it.
Some comments came in. Markar says, no to Baker. Cleveland stinks. They do stink. Alex says, Josh Allen, stud. How about I sent a nice social media post out this week. Maybe
Josh Allen is good.
A couple people, maybe not. But imagine the Buffalo Bills winning a division. It's going to happen. They're the best.
That's another thing I took from is the Patriots looked pretty solid with Cam Newton.
Whoa. Yeah, you better slow your roll there.
Buffalo's best team in that division. Book it.
There now.
What happened?
The Bills are the best team in the AFC East. They're better than the Patriots.
I'm not betting.
Bills are
I thought he looked pretty good, man. Even his outfit looked even better.
Well, I mean, I still like Cam a lot. I know a lot of people don't have a lot of love for Cam or like iffy on Cam. I want to see him do well because I think he's got something left in the tank. But I still think Buffalo's the best team in that division, and I think they win that division.
Well, it's going to come down to the Bills, and it's going to come down to the Patriots in that AFC East. The Jets, I mean, didn't Bell get hurt too? He's out for a couple of weeks, I think. I mean, the Jets stink. The Dolphins are the same Dolphins. They're going to stink too, like they always do. It's going to come down
Yeah,
to the Pats.
The Adam Gase project is over, dude. Like, how does a guy like that get 2 head coaching jobs?
That's actually a great question. I mean, he get the first one. It could be a tough situation, but then he immediately gets the second one. I tend to agree, Nick. I think that project, that experiment, I think he's done.
Yeah. Well, like I said, Bell was always saying how he just didn't like the guy. He's like a weird dude. And I don't know. If you don't like the coach, you don't want to play for the guy.
Well, he doesn't play him. He doesn't use him the right way. He doesn't use him at all.
Well, I know they gave him the ball a ton last year. Not for a lot of yards, but
they didn't use him. They didn't use him as much as they should have. And I don't know if that was because of him coming back from he sat out the whole year. I mean, that couldn't have helped anything. But honestly, their fans were screaming every year about how they didn't use him the right way. And Gase has been pretty much out in the open about that. I mean, I don't think it's like any secret now. So why would you like play for that guy? They signed him to this contract, and he's not even gonna let him play the way he plays. I don't know.
I got a question for you.
I wouldn't bet against Belichick in that division.
Yeah, I'm not either. But like I said, I got a question about the NFC East. So since the only 1-0 team is the Washington football team, and with the Cowboys, Giants, Eagles all 0-1, I mean, how does like the standings fix after the first week? Is the Cowboys still like the favorite to win it, or is the Eagles still the favorite, or is like, hey, Washington got this shit?
Are you asking me, or are you asking me?
I'm asking both of you. Whoever wants to answer first.
Yeah, are you asking me, or are you asking me as a Vegas line maker?
Because
it's the same answer. Yes, I mean the Cowboys still on paper look like the best team. The Eagles we talked about for a while, decimated they are. So yeah, I mean certainly not the artist formerly known as the Redskins, and the Giants stink. So
they put up some points last night though. They looked okay, right?
They stink.
They stink.
They stink.
All right, so yeah, losing that game against Washington really hurts because I mean, I know it's only week 1, but you want to call it like a must win. Like you're supposed to win that game, and they didn't. They just didn't win it. They just shit the bed in the second half. I mean, they were supposed to win that.
You are supposed to win that game. However, it's one game. It doesn't matter if you lost to the Chiefs or you lost to the Redskins. Or Ravens. It's one game. So, and
we're about to go 0-2.
Then it puts you in a tough spot because you really need to try and beat the Rams. And now, speaking of Vegas lineup makers, we opened last week. Eagles like -3.5. We're dogs now. So that'll tell you. But we'll see.
And I wish that like you could say that we're at home and that's an advantage. But there's no advantage. There's no fans. There's no drunken asshole scumbag Philly fans there.
Bro, how would you say that? There is an advantage, actually.
But there's no fans there, though.
But there is an advantage. There is an advantage. So because the Rams are in L.A., and there is a rule right now with traveling. So typically, like the Rams, they just played in Dallas, which is not full East Coast, right? But it's a trip. But they would have just came to Philly and stayed, right?
Yeah.
They're not allowed to do that with the COVID rules this year. So they're going to have to make that late week trip again. So there is still an advantage to them coming.
Oh, that's a good point.
So, obviously you're not getting the home fans. You're not getting I'm not going to repeat what you called us Philly fans. It's just disgraceful.
I just love how.
Point, or are you talking there? I just thought it's funny. I just think it's funny.
I love how like we have all these bubbles and no fans, like for basketball, for hockey, no fans at the baseball game. First NFL game of the season. I'm like, what are the fans doing in there? Like, how did that happen?
20,000 fans, KC.
For football, you're allowed in.
Yep.
COVID doesn't go to football games.
Does that shock you?
Dude, I knew this was gonna happen. I know they can't do it in every state, so don't everybody
right.
I understand they're only allowing for every state, but like I said on Facebook, like the Royals still don't have fans there. I mean, and basically it's because what I read about was like the MLB owners didn't take action to do so, but now they're probably going to. And it's a mess. Like the NFL came in, they were like, yeah, you guys can have this many fans.
Yeah, we'll give you
It
30.
makes no sense.
It's fine.
Well, Jacksonville had fans too. Jacksonville had like 20% or 20,000 or something.
Well,
Not like anybody goes to
Jacksonville's
games
also in
anyway,
Florida, and we all know how Florida's been treating the pandemic. So that's
Yeah.
But that's all I got, guys. I'm gonna get ready to wrap it up here. But I did want to do this live for the boys and kind of call them out here because I did it in text earlier. Nobody seemed to be too hip on it, but I want to go Thursday night again because we got a preview this week. We got Thursday night football. We still got a lot to talk about. You guys gonna make it happen?
These upcoming games, I'll have some picks coming up too.
So I'm
I
saying,
think
then
I'll get some leads.
if we go Thursday night, Proph, we can get Earl stuck into his now. Hey, I really had that game, but I told several people about it.
You like that, don't you?
Well, several
like that.
people about
Just
that.
admit it.
Yeah.
It's okay.
Several
You know,
people.
I make some good picks.
I'll
Well,
get
we
some
have a good
picks
one
together.
Thursday. What's the Browns Bengals Thursday? It's gonna be a sick game.
Yep.
Yeah, that's going to be a tough one to call there. That's what we'll call a shit show, I think, right there.
Earl's just loving the puns off of the news from earlier in the week. Just absolutely loving the puns. But
Sideways or all?
We'll try for Thursday, right?
Yep.
Thursday,
So-
right?
hopefully you'll all see us back again Thursday night. Just a quick reminder, all of the podcasts are up on the iTunes podcast application and YouTube. Search from_the_hill. Put it in quotations so you don't miss it. If you don't already, please hit the subscribe button, hit the like button. Doesn't cost you guys anything, but it really helps us out. Really helps us get the content out there. We are ready to get back into a regular schedule, especially now that we have football to talk about, and especially because Earl wants to make picks and have more than just several people.
Thank
able
you.
to
I appreciate
verify,
that. Yep.
Which means we need you guys helping us share the videos and sharing the content to get out there. We appreciate everyone that does. That's all that we got. This is Swags for the Earl and the Proph. Peace.
Peace.
Move for me, hey, hey. And when you're done, I'm there.